Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our certified hypnotherapist, who's also a retired family physician, joining us here again today. Excited to have Stephanie Bellomo joining us here, and she now is doing hypnotherapy. She has her own company, and it's Stephanie Bellomo. Let me spell that for you. STEPHANIEBELLOMO.com. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Bellomo. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me back.
Excited to have you back. Amazing career. You've been helping so many as a doctor, also now as a certified master hypnotist. You have amazing credentials here, which speaks volumes, and that's very important. I know you probably don't want to tout that, but yeah, you are very, very qualified. And it's amazing to hear that someone like yourself, who spent over 33 years as a family physician, now is into hypnotherapy. It really is proving that there's so many other methods just beside medicine that can help people. So tell us a little bit about that and what it is you do.
Yeah, it's really interesting to be able to kind of shift into something that is a little more esoteric, and yet, we reach people on a spiritual level through hypnotherapy. We're kind of getting into the basics of their core, you're talking to the to the subconscious mind instead of the intellectual mind. As a family physician, I was always trying to be very practical and logical and convince people. We found there were so many things, problems people had that had roots. Their medical problems, their emotional engagement with those problems, all were rooted in an emotional start somewhere in their lives. And we have to kind of find a way to pick that open and get it listening and talking with a logical mind to get people out of bad habits. So habit control, belief in whatever you believe in as a person regarding your own health and your potential for whether you will be sick or not, kind of comes down to what does that subconscious mind have, what does it think, what does it feel? Our subconscious minds are not very verbal. They're kind of, they go by visual or auditory cues, sometimes sensory cues. And so a hypnotherapist that works with someone well has to kind of delve into understanding what way to speak to that person so that they can all of a sudden have it make sense to them, to the subconscious. We don't have the subconscious mind working together with the conscious mind, the logical side. It just doesn't work. You can make all the vows you want, all the intentions for, creating a new habit, a new lifestyle practice, and if it won't work because you have this habit of comfort somewhere else, you have to kind of teach that subconscious mind, you can grow up and try something new. It's not dangerous to try something new and see if it makes you feel better. And that's what I try to do with people. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Beautiful. Well,
so it might be, if somebody has a fear that they're just going to die of cardiovascular disease, so they don't even try to eat well. They see everybody in their family having heart attacks and progressing on heart failure or some other issue, vascular disease. And I can help people kind of reverse that trend by helping their subconscious mind go, there are different ways to eat, to exercise, to make it fun, to make it be enjoyable instead of something that, they would repudiate in their former lives. Think of how many people won't eat vegetables, and they think a pill they can order online. Yeah. It's going to do the job.
It's so true, right? It's so true.
Yeah, I had somebody stop over the other day. I do everything online. I do things through Zoom, but a personal friend of mine knows I'm a hypnotherapist, and I had her come over to pick up some stuff that I wanted to give away. We have a bunch of fruit trees, and I had an overabundance of pears, and I was like, come get some. And she's asking me for help with weight control, and I know there's more than one part of that. So if I were to work with a person on weight control, I really try to sit down with them, find out what their lifestyle is, what are their emotional influences, who else in their family is steering them into the bad habit or relinquishing that control they want to get. And it's you have to kind of get them convinced. So she was asking me for some help with, could I give her a recording, which I love to do. I like to make a recording with my hypnosis. I'll write a script that's individualized and record it, and they can listen to it in the daytime or at bedtime, whichever works best, and use it for practice and kind of ingrain it that way. The more you hear the same things, the more you begin to believe it. So I'm trying to figure out what to do for her, but the reality is I really should just say, let's do some sessions together because you're going to need several things worked through in your case. So that's kind of, I have to take everybody's personal situation and customize what we do. So that's basically it. As for weight loss, most people have gone through all kinds of diets, right? They did Weight Watchers, they did Atkins, they did the fasting diets where they try to have long intervals between eating, and those are the ones that are probably the most difficult to. I think those are hazardous for people in a way because some people think if they fast a long time, then they can eat anything they want because their body will know what to do it. But the longer you fast, the more your body goes, I don't know when I will eat again. So it just goes into starvation mode and you can't stop. So I don't quite understand that diet, but I guess there are people that respond, but I try to figure out what they've done before and help them go with what they feel is right for them, and everything. It might be I employ EFT because if they crave sweets after every meal, can we use this emotional freedom technique, which is also called tapping?
Yes. You do that as well.
Yes, wow. Yes. It's very effective for like a one-timer, somebody that has one single issue, and they can continue doing this on their own because a lot of impulses to eat will go away. It's like smoking. If you have an impulse, just pick up a cigarette and light it. Mm-hmm. Does the impulse stay with you? Or can you do something else that slows you down and the impulse kind of gets less urgent over time?
Wow.
So that's kind of an interesting way to go. And, for me, now that I'm retired, I'm watching all these things that come up on my email and news feeds.
Social
online.
Media feeds, yep,
And I'll see these things about, this pharmaceutical that I prescribed for years for this or that is now is known to be toxic, and people need to keep coming up with something different. So Cymbalta for depression, different things. What was the one for smoking? It was found to be cancer causing. It's like, okay, can we stay away from pharmaceuticals a little more often? And not everybody needs a load of those.
So true.
And yet, insurance people's employment brings insurance, and so they want something that is insured as a treatment, and yet those don't always work out. So I wish employers would pay for hypnotherapy and for other things too, because those are modalities that have some benefit and can stick with people. And repeat sessions are still less expensive than going to many of the specialists. Way, way less, depending where you're in, where you live, what your circumstances are. I was trained through the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. It's a Californian, actually it's a college. I spent a whole year doing their program. And again, that's quite a lot different than many of the hypnosis schools, which make people be masters. I should update my website. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, which, the extra credentials from a longer period of training. And we learn more skills about counseling, different ways of working with people that are well known in psychology and psychiatry as counseling methods, but employ them in addition to adding the hypnosis, because every session you might talk to people quite a bit during a session, but doing the hypnosis in the end lets it really sink into the subconscious mind, because that part of our brain is a more profound influence on our lives than anyone knows. And typically people say it's about 80 to 90 of your willpower comes from what's in your subconscious. Only 10 to 12 or 20% at most in your logical mind, because you kind of can't keep up with it. It just goes off and does something else and thinks about other things. We have monkey minds that get busy doing other stuff, and the subconscious takes over and controls what you actually are doing, really thinking about it. So we have to talk to that part, says, okay, let's, if you don't want to think about it, let's get it all ingrained to you now. And this is how it's going to be from now on. And it begins to work wonders the more you hear the same suggestions over and over and listen to it in a pleasing way. Because the goal with hypnosis is to also make people feel relieved from stress. You might feel a little bit anxious about going into hypnosis, but by the time you're done, you are in this pleasant place where you're just so relaxed and happy, because that's my goal with people, never to trick them, never to do something that's going to make them feel uncomfortable about what happened, at all. So it's all individual, customized for each person. And that's the way it should be.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing that. Well, hold on. There's still much more about you. We need to let our listeners know about the work you're doing and the benefits of all this work, including the tapping, as you mentioned before. Let's take a quick break here, if you don't mind. Would you mind telling us how we can reach out to you?
Yes. Stephanie at stephaniebellomo.com is my email. And the phone number is 802-999-0062.
All
right. And I always speak to people for 15 or 20 minutes to kind of get set and find out what you want.
Love that.
So I'd love to do that.
All right. Sounds good. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back in under 2 minutes.
Atera includes everything MSPs and IT pros need in one easy-to-use and affordable remote monitoring and management solution. With Atera, you get in one integrated IT tool suite, remote monitoring and management, remote access, patch management, help desk and ticketing, billing, reports, and so much more. Click below to discover Atera today and start monitoring unlimited devices within minutes. Green mic not included.
I'm Barb McIntosh, sound healer and founder of Barb Sounds. I practice frequency medicine to help you navigate major life issues. Using the frequencies of sound and light, I take you on a journey to your own best self. I specialize in illness, end of life, and other big changes. Discover me online at heal.me/barbsounds. Tickets at barbsounds.eventbrite.ca or call me at 437-291-1485, toll free.
Are you struggling with knowing how to manage your health and weight? Do you need help planning your nutrition around your needs and goals? Hi, my name is Alec Moore, and I'm the founder of Nutrition Collaborative. We offer premium one-on-one nutrition and fitness coaching services. I help my clients learn the proper nutrition and fitness habits for their specific needs and goals. Contact me today on Instagram at Alec the Dietitian, and let's get you the help you need on your journey once and for all.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-386-9945. 800-386-9945. 800-386-9945.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the mytuner-radio, online radio box, and simpleradio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. So excited to have our good friend here and doctor and, of course, certified hypnotherapist, Stephanie Bellomo. She's based out of Jericho, Vermont, but helping people all over the world, and excited to have her here talking about how she tailors, each and every individual to your needs to help you attain your health goals. And you know what? Hypnotherapy goes a long way. And by the way, I was just curious because I was rereading your bio. I know we've spoken a lot before, but I read this word, Capucinian hypnotherapy. Is that a specific form of it? Could you just share a little bit about that?
Fellow named John Kappas, who is a Greek, a first-generation Greek-American.
Okay.
His own father was an immigrant. I think it was in Detroit or Chicago, I forget which.
Okay.
But he was somebody that founded this institute because he really liked he liked doing hypnosis, and he loved the psychology. He kind of went against his family, who wanted him to do other business, like restaurant business or something. He had learned, he was in World War II and learned how to help people when he was in the Navy. He was out in the Pacific and rescued, they were in a situation where they were rescuing a sunken ship with all the sailors out there who had been blown out of the ship or were being attacked by sharks, and they would bring them on, and he was doing pain relief because they did not have enough medics or enough medication on board to help all these people. So he knew how to do hypnosis and was giving people these emergency suggestions to kind of help them get into a different state of mind out of fear and help them feel soothed and relieved of pain and blocking the pain. You can block pain, which is fascinating. So, we basically tell people, okay, how about, if something is hurting, can you imagine that you're walking out on a snowy day and that part of you that's been so painful is getting colder and colder. The rest of you is nice and warm, but you can feel it getting kind of numb. It's like you just put that limb into a snowbank, and you just get it nice and chilled. And after a few moments, it's so numb, you don't feel it anymore. Or an option, if it's something that you don't want to numb that way, you can you can modify the way the pain feels. You can tell that part of your body, I'm ready to feel a different sensation there. How about we turn it into a tickle? It's just a light tickle, like a feather brushing your skin, instead of this stabbing pain in your belly or whatever.
Yeah.
You could just switch somebody from having heartburn to having them turn it on to cooler. You shift them out of it by having them kind of go into the place in their mind where they know what those sensations are. They've already been there in their lives, and they can just draw that up and pull it in and relive it, and kind of replace that feeling. You can say, let's move that sharp pain out of your stomach and now into your left toe of your big left toe on the left foot. And, you can now rub it if you wish and just take it away with rubbing and pretend your mom is kissing it. And that way, you kind of put them into this trance-like state, but then add the suggestions once they're in a deeper trance, because all of a sudden the body goes, it's calmed down, it's relaxed, and fear is what makes everything enhanced when it comes to pain. So we learned that kind of thing through John Kappas' training. He did years and years of work. He's passed away, but his family carries this work on and is doing this training online. I don't know if they've gone back into in-person training in California, but they would call people off the streets and just put them on camera and do six sessions and train their trainees with how to do things in a very practical way. And then we had wonderful seminars where we could train on each other, practice hypnosis scripts, and learn how to do them ourselves. And it's so much, it gives you this opportunity to get creative. And for me, that was just such a pleasure after kind of living in a very cookbook world, the medical practice field now.
Good way to put it,
That was interesting. Yeah. So, there's so many avenues. It can treat grief, loss. I've had people that were, struggling because they hadn't gotten over a failed relationship or had died. Yeah. And needing to kind of resolve those feelings that were creating physical health problems too. Just this melancholy is sort of what they used to call depression, and it's much more amenable to treatment with hypnotherapy than to pills sometimes, just because they get to air what it is they need to talk about, what they miss about their loved one that's gone, and replace it. We can replace it with, you can always go back to that and live it in the moment. Sorry, my dog decided to
That's okay, that's okay.
But, anyway, so there's so many other things to treat, things like helping people get a sense of focus for studying. Students can learn how to get past attention deficit stuff, all the distractions we have in the world. And that's a really valuable thing to learn, because we have so many people getting so overloaded with all the incoming stimuli that, my dog was just one of those. And so attention, anything that pulls your attention away, you can kind of teach people to go back to a calmer frame of mind where they're like one thing at a time. And that's more helpful to learning something you really need to learn or accomplishing a task you need to complete.
Beautiful. Well, at this time, unfortunately, we're almost out of time. We have just 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Anything else in particular that you want to make sure we cover for today?
Well, let me just ask that people feel free to call for a free online consultation. I can talk to them on Zoom if they cannot do everything on phone. If they contact me through email.
Say that again?
I would definitely work with someone online through Zoom.
Great.
If they were in another time zone that's so out of a different phones. I try to do phone consults ahead of time, but if they're in Europe, say, and the time zone is really awkward, it's hard for them to connect with me by phone because of the long distance for them. Hey, ask online for an online Zoom, and we'll talk. And so we can get it together that way, and just find out what you need and go from there.
Beautiful.
And I'd like to do that.
All right. Thanks again for being here, joining us, and remind us how we can contact you one more time.
Yes, StephanieBellomo.com is the website, and I'm just Stephanie at StephanieBellomo.com for email. 802-999-0062 is my phone number.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
No, appreciate you, and looking forward to the next time we connect. Have a great day, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.